normal progression, the way I see it, he should be nominated for chair. Folks vote on it, but I think it's childish what's going on out here. Mr. Thomas has shown me the rectitude I expect to see in any supervisor. And I think what's going on here is a sham. Let's get it done, taken care of, because I want to speak on something else that's going to be important to everybody in this district. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to weigh in before we take this to board deliberations? Okay, thank you for your comments. I again call for a nomination for chair.
Well, I'll make a comment. First of all, there's no precedent per se how the board organizes itself. We've had lots of instances in this county where there is not a normal progression. That's why it's voted. So the idea that somehow somebody just automatically ascends to it from heaven is not accurate. It's a political decision, it's a political vote. It's based on merits. As the board sees the merits, there's no just automatic right to ascend to this. This is an hierarchy or a monarchy where the oldest son just ascends. It's totally up to the board, and it's up to the board how to organize it. So, with that, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that Maria Calloway be chair for the next year.
Thank you, Mr. Tryon, for that. And as much as I really do love being the chair, since that's why we started saying chair versus chairman, I will, out of respect for some of the recent practices we have, I will nominate Russ for chair and challenge him to be the best chair that this board has seen.
I second. I have a comment. I will not be voting for the motion. I view, given our recent history of nomination sends all the wrong signals. I view it as a repudiation of both my election and Gary Tortonelli's election and the grand jury report. We've been through 2 years, basically, in my opinion, of living hell under what I consider to be less than honorable leadership. We've had 2 years, basically, of the moral and ethical abyss, and I think we're sending clearly the signal to the county citizens, and particularly to the county employees, that abyss is going to continue, and I will be voting no. Thank you.
I will make a comment as well. I want to thank Supervisor Calloway for setting aside personal considerations and honoring the institution and placing at least some level of order and collegiality before personal gain. I think it's a good start to the new year, and I wanted to thank her for that. We have a motion and a second. Is there any other comment before we move forward? All right. And those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Passes on 4-1. And I will pass happily the gavel to Supervisor.
I want to thank all of you that have come this morning. I don't like having my name on the front page of the paper associated with controversy. That's not my style. There has been a normal progression of the chairmanship here over the years. With 5 districts, the idea is to have each district in a proportional manner represented. So in a fairly
reasonable to expect that each supervisorial district's citizens would have the privilege of being represented 20% of the time. A gentleman made a comment that Supervisor Tryon was next in line for this year, and I successfully argued, and it's one of the reasons that I did make the motion that I be vice chair in last January, was that if Supervisor Tryon had ascended to the chairmanship this year, it would have meant that he would have been chairman 3 times out of 10 years, which I don't know whether that might be eminently fair to Mr. Tryon, but it's not fair to the citizens of District 5. And that's why I successfully made that argument, and that's why I proudly last year made the nomination of myself for vice chair. Now, this is not exactly on the agenda, but I want to validate the good reasons that is a practice in this county. Because as the vice chair, you are focusing toward the next 12 months. I guess in January of this year, the person who is designated as the vice chair, and that'll be the next item on the agenda here, will know that he's going to have a reasonable expectation, unless he gets convicted of some felony or something, that he's going to be chairman of this board. I have worked extremely hard this year. It would have been a vast disappointment to me if I hadn't been able to take on this responsibility. I look forward with great eagerness. I have, for the past year, been looking forward to doing my job for you. So, having said that, it has long been a practice in this county that the chair doesn't make motions, and there is no justifiable reason for that. There absolutely not. Robert's Rules of Order clearly say that the chairman can initiate motions if he sees fit, and so in keeping with that departure from tradition, I suppose, but fundamentally correct in Robert's Rules of Orders, I make a motion that Tom Tryon serve as vice chair in 2009.
And notwithstanding the nominee's previous remarks, I'll second it.
I am not inclined to serve as vice chair. I would defer to Maria. I think Maria should be the vice chair. So, if you don't mind withdrawing those motions, I would like to make a motion for Maria to be vice chair.
So if somebody seconds the motion and we have a majority, do we force him into being vice chair? Are you declining officially?
Yes, I'm declining at this point.
All right,
I would chair again, but not at this time.
I withdraw my motion, and I would defer to you as that the form of a motion for Supervisor Tower.
I guess so, at your request.
Okay, and I would move that Maria be made vice chair. I second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded for Maria Callaway to assume the position of vice chair of Calaveras County Board of Supervisors. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'd like a little more definitive eyes on this.
I would hope you'd say, okay, the content, not the style.
You got a motion right away, and it was 5-0.
I don't know, when you guys go to vote no, no.
It's the first unanimous vote of the new year.
Okay, then that officially confirms it that Maria Callaway is vice chair for the year. Okay, just I want to mention here at the onset that I am going to continue to chair from this location. I like the sight lines. It's been conventional that the chair sits over in the middle, but the meetings that...
No, what's his name up there, former supervisor?
Did you see him?
He made
Oh,
change.
oh, he made a change?
Yeah.
Blame it on me.
I am.
Accept that responsibility.
But if in future meetings, people will start looking down that way for the chairman, you're going to find them here for the next 12 months. I'd like the ability to look directly at the speakers, and I only have to look in one direction instead of talk to the board members and discuss.
Closer to the door.
Yes. Okay, I would like to call your attention to, back to the agenda. We have the consent agenda, and these, as you know, are routine and controversial items that can be acted upon by the board at one time without discussion. However, any board member, staff member, interested party can remove an item from the consent agenda. We can talk about that individually. So at this time, I would entertain a motion on the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion and second for approval of the consent calendar. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that carries on 5-0. I should have said aye with some different emphasis on it. All right, moving on to the regular agenda. We have continuation of the public comments. At this time, anybody in the audience who wishes to bring an item not on the agenda forward and discuss it with the Board of Supervisors. We will not be making an action on this, but we are very interested in hearing what you have to say. Please identify yourself.
Derek Mann,
Was it Derek?
Jared.
Garrett, okay, thank you.
I guess I'm here to talk about two issues. The second issue being on the-
Jared, just pardon me for one moment. Could we close the door back there, Sean? Okay, thank you very much.
So, two issues. I think my second issue is on the agenda, but I'm not able to stick around all the time. My first issue is building setbacks and the way the planning department applies those to all structures. And the second issue is legal access issue. I want to comment on that one real briefly before I go. My first issue is setbacks for fences and retaining walls. Now, according to the planning department, if you have a retaining wall over 4 feet or a fence over 6 feet, they require a variance to be in a setback. This is because they are permitted structures. Now, I've looked in the code for where permitted structure setbacks are, cannot find it. I can find building setbacks, and the code actually states really clearly what building setback is. Building setback means the distance from a property line or the center line of a road easement or right of way, whichever is greater, to the edge of the foundation stem wall of any building. Now, some setbacks for permanent structures aren't found here, nor are they anywhere else. I brought this issue up with the planning department and have not been able to get a clear answer as to why our building setbacks are applied to all permanent structures. This may not seem like that big of an issue, but to get a variance, the fee right now is $2,958. If you want to put up a 7-foot high fence, that seems like a pretty high price to do that, just to get, applied for a variance. So I'm asking the board to request clarification from the planning department as to why permitted structures require variance to be within a setback. Second issue, the legal access issue. Is passing an ordinance to ignore legal access?
Jared, this is on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay,
I have to go pick up my kids in like 15 minutes. So
okay,
allow me-
well, it's out of the ordinary, but the chair will allow this one time.
Passing an ordinance to ignore legal access benefits some of us in the short term. It'll benefit me. I'm an engineer. I certainly could use more work right now with the economy. It certainly benefit realtors and everyone involved in the building and real estate industry. but I don't believe it's right. And in fact, in Modesto B, I found in June 2002, a man gunned down 2 women cleaning the driveway across his line. This was in Wallace, Calaveras County. This is a serious issue. It's not one to be taken lightly. Please don't shove this legal access issue under a rug for my generation to deal with.
Just for clarification, you're taking a strong position that legal access should be required.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for your comments, Jerry.
It's who? Mary
Are you related to B?
My name is Marion Cram from San Andreas. I am here representing the Calaveras Youth Mentoring Program. Before the official director, mainly I'm representing the Calaveras Follies. And the reason I am here is that I do have personal invitations from each of the board. And this is not coming as a shock to any of you, because you've all been proposed to be invited by a well-known personality in this town to be in her act. So I just wanted to ask all of you again to support this lovely person in considering joining her. I would like to also ask everybody who came today, who has been in the Follies, who says they are really fun things to do. Marty?
It's the most fun thing you'll do all year. You should do it.
It used to be,
And I have enough
last year,
for everything.
and her sister Mary. Beautiful outfit. That's when you have an opportunity to dress up. You never get to dress up in this county except for
You can't. You just look
they do look cool. Who else has been in the Follies? John Brokey's been in the Follies. Lucy Klein has been in the Follies every single year.
Marita has been in the
Marita has been in the Follies. Right. Am I missing anybody?
Well, then we have lots of new presidents.
We have lots of new prospects.
Hasn't Madeline been in the Follies?
Madeline has been in the Follies. And where did you go? There's a serious part to the Follies. And yes, it sounds like a lot of fun and we're being rather silly. This is a fundraiser for the Calaveras Youth Mentoring Program. It is the #1 fundraiser for this program. The reason I can charge to members of the board, because you are personalities. You are important people in this county. A lot of people know you. Known people in the show sell tickets. And this is a fundraiser. These are $50 tickets. All of you in the show alone could perhaps fill one part of the people who know you. And I was looking around the audience. There are quite a few people in the audience who I have been asking for some time to be in the show. And perhaps they will consider some year. And the whole purpose is that you are important people, all of you. And the more people you know who would buy a ticket to see you on stage, it helps them. And you have a very, very fun time in the process. And the food is good too. So that's my 2 cents to the board, and I hope even Tom, you might consider it.
Did the Grinch have a song?
Oh, we were going to, no, I won't.
Good morning, Mr. Ellis.
Mr. Thomas. Chairman Thomas, congratulations.
Thank you.
Happy New Year's, all board members, everybody. That's a tough act to follow. All going to use it all. Well, down to business. My name is John Ellis. I live in Arnold, and I'm a taxpayer. As a taxpayer, I have certain rights. These rights include the right to petition government, for example, to file an appeal of tax assessment, and to pursue that appeal without fear of retribution from government, in this case, the assessor's office. My current situation started with a meeting with then County Assessor Randy Mesker and his assistant Leslie Davis, my wife, and myself in Mr. Mesker's office. At the onset of the meeting, Mr. Mesker made it absolutely clear that Ms. Davis is managing and/or handling my case. A summary of that meeting goes like this: that Ms. Davis is very brilliant. She challenged me to take her on, and concluded the meeting with her comment, "There's a legal library under the courthouse." This situation fully blossomed when I received some 40-plus notices of assessment and supplemental assessments of my property as of January 1st, 2006. Today I can tell you each one of those assessments were found to be incorrect, not supported by the facts, the tax rules, or the law. Notwithstanding, the supplemental assessments were statutorily exempt. As some board members may recall, on September 18, 2007, I stood before this board acting in the capacity of the local Board of Equalization. In that hearing, I challenged the January 1, 2006 assessment of my properties for newly constructed work. On around December 14, 2007, the clerk of the board notified me of the local Board of Equalization statement of decision, which stated the following: the board finds by preponderance of evidence that on January 1st, 2006, the water and sewer improvements constructed by Ellis were under the ownership and control of CCWD and therefore not accessible to Ellis. The application is granted to the extent that the cost of water and sewer services are included in the valuation of January 1st, 2006. It should be noted, during that hearing and during the events in the documents leading up to that hearing, and as the official transcript shows, Ms. Davis made it very clear that she personally handled or managed my case. After the local Board of Equalization decision, the assessor's office did not correct my assessments, did not process any refunds, or offer any help to resolve the issue. Ms. Davis' attitude became ever more defiant and combative. For example, I went to the assessor's office to get a copy of one of my files. In my direct line of sight in hearing, Ms. Davis directed the staff to purge documents out of my file before she would let me review it. Before Ms. Davis allowed me to look at the purged file, she found it necessary to tell me a story. It was about a little dog that she took to the vet because all it did was bark, bark, bark. And it became very annoying. The vet said there was nothing that he could do, that the little dog would just bark, bark, bark until one day it would die from a heart attack.
Mr. Ellis, I'm going to break in here for a second. You've been about 4 minutes into a 5-minute.
If you would indulge me, I've got about 3 or 4 more minutes and I'll be done.
That's, I should have said at the onset that this particular chairman is going to adhere to the time limitations. So, and I would make a point of order here that there's a prescribed procedure for appealing the assessments. And
I'm not appealing an assessment. I'm petitioning my government right now, and I'm making a statement in public comments, and that's all I'm doing.
I don't wish to be argumentative, and I sincerely would hope that you would understand that I am not in favor of having a 5-hour-long meeting. And
well, that's
listen, let me finish. I'm going to give you another 2 minutes to wrap it up, and I want it to be sort of broadcast loudly in this chambers that 5 minutes is going to be the limit from here on in. I'm sorry I didn't mention that or remind you about it.
Yeah, if you would have mentioned that, then I would have probably talked a little bit faster. I wanted to get my point across.
Okay, well,
so if you would indulge me, I will be done here in a few minutes.
thank you.
The purpose of the story, the receptionist and I looked at disbelief that Ms. Davis would say such a thing. The purpose of the story and what I had to do with my issues, well, you'll just have to ask Ms. Davis that question. As to why she was removing documents from the official file prior to allowing me to view it, you will also have to ask her that question. After this experience, I tried to visit the assessor's office when Miss Davis was not around to avoid any confrontation. Out of frustration, I did some research and found the auditor's office could resolve the issue. The auditor's office was very helpful, however, the issue is still not fully resolved due to Miss Davis and the lack of cooperation and unprofessional behavior. On or around May 12, 2008, the assessor's office filed a lawsuit and appealed writ of mandamus challenging local board of equalization's finding. This decision by the assessor to hire legal counsel to answer the assessor's lawsuit at a cost of approximately $7,100. After my legal counsel filed the answer to the lawsuit on January 31st, 2008, approximately 2.5 months after the first filing, the assessor's office dismissed their lawsuit. Shortly thereafter, the assessor's counsel contacted me by telephone informing the assessor's decision for dismissal was due to the cost of litigation. My question is the cost to who? Regardless of any argument on the merit of the lawsuit, a government agency should not file a lawsuit just to dismiss it shortly thereafter because it's going to cost too much. The cost-benefit of a litigation is always discussed between counsel and client prior to filing a lawsuit. It would be malpractice to do otherwise. This intentional, ill-conceived, and bad faith action by the assessor's office is nothing less than a waste of public and private resources and serves as a form of punitive punishment against the public for petitioning its government for a grievance. In my case, $7,100 worth of punitive punishment. Without getting into the argument, let me give you notice now. I am trying to claim the county to reimburse $7,100 of legal fees. Once again, in 2008, the assessor's office has assessed my properties, including the same cost of the water and sewer, ordered not to be included in the valuation of my properties. Some $60,000 was added without any notice of assessment. This action by the assessor's office has forced me to file yet more appeals, which is wasting more public and private resources. These assessments provide proof of Miss Davis' contempt for the local board of equalization, contempt for the public she serves, and contempt for the laws and rules of this state. There are other issues, but in interest of time, I will not go into them now. But the bottom line is that well over 40 assessments on my property by the assessor's office, all personally handled or managed by Miss Davis, all have been wrong. Her conduct has been unprofessional, vindictive, insubordinate, defiant, and dishonest. I've also found that she is not as knowledgeable as she would like you to believe, as her judgment in my case is proven. Mr. Metzger retired last month. The Board of Supervisors may soon consider her appointment to fill that vacancy until such time an assessor is duly elected. As a matter of common knowledge within the county offices, Ms. Davis has made it clear that she is Metzger's heir apparent. In fact, county personnel told me that Ms. Davis has bragged that in exchange for work on supervisors' campaigns, she has been promised a vote as Metzger's successor. I find this disturbing for several reasons. First, I would caution any elected official giving an appearance of a quid pro quo in today's political environment. Second, the assessor's office is an elected position. I hold office held by a representative of the people, held as a position of public trust by some person who will follow the laws of the state and will protect the rights of the public, particularly that right to petition its government without fear of reprisal. Leslie Davis is clearly not that person. Beyond my own experience...
Excuse me, Mr. Ellis, do you have a concluding comment?
If you give me just 30 more seconds, I will be done.
How about 20?
Beyond my own experience with Ms. Davis, I've had several other people comment on Ms. Davis' behavior, including the supervisor, who has had to reprimand Ms. Davis on more than one occasion, and a number of county personnel who have experienced Ms. Davis' lack of professional behavior. Over the years, I've sat in this chamber listening to appeal applicants during the local board of equalization hearings, members of the public readily charged lack of cooperation, including silence.
Mr. Ellis, you've made your point. With all due respect, there's a gentleman standing behind me who would like to address this forward. I apologize for my abruptness, but I want to maintain some decorum here. Thank you. Chair recognizes Mr. Martin, who has previously introduced himself.
I hope I don't go on the clock until I start talking.
That's right.
This is going to be relatively quick. I welcome everybody again. Sorry to blow up a little bit at the beginning, but this is one item that is really bothering me is this AB 885 septic tank rules and well regulations. I started doing a little background on this. I'm going to go through this real fast. On February 25th, 1999, Assemblymember Hannah Beth Jackson, Democrat Ventura, not that means anything, introduced subject bill on behalf of the environmental group Peel the Bay, whose primary concern was purported to be one of cleaning up Santa Monica Bay. The original bill states, and I quote, "This bill would require the State Department of Health Services on or before January 1, 2001, in consultation with the State Water Resources Control Board, the California Coastal Commission, and the California Conference of Directors of Environmental Health, to adopt by regulation statewide performance standards for all on-site sewage treatment systems within the coastal zone as described. The bill would require all affected on-site sewage systems to comply with the standards no later than January 1, 2003, or 3 years from the date of adoption of the standards, whichever is earlier." 50,000 taxpayer dollars was granted to accomplish these goals. Not done. We're in 2009. Current version. The current version of the bill and its draconian regulations do not in any form resemble the intent of the original bill as introduced on February 25, 1999. Some of the highlights include, and it becomes statewide, mandatory testing of septic systems and domestic wells every 5 years at a minimal cost of $325. Don't let that bill fool you. You're not going to get away with it for $325. It'll be borne by the property owner. I suspect that this does not cover any additional fees for tests. Then there's draconian siting standards for any new or replaced systems. And you can refer to Title 27, yada, 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 and all that stuff. In summation, one has a hard time arguing against motherhood, apple pie, flag, or the environment. But as this bill now exists, it is a true example of big fears, little risks. I ask, are there major health problems throughout the state of California that are attributed directly to the operation of septic systems? I seriously doubt it. I would suggest that we citizens of California are at greater health risks by the scores of indigents that reside under freeway underpasses and the streets of once beautiful cities such as San Francisco, who routinely foul their collective nests, which drain directly into protected waterways. The request I'd like to make of the county is I hereby request the Calaveras County Board of Supervisors, in concert with other concerned counties, I know Trinity is definitely one of them, file a request to Governor Schwarzenegger to repeal this law as it currently exists because of its draconian and costly rules with little or no benefits, coupled with its untimely implementation. Comments have to be into the State Water Board at AB 855 at waterboard.cal.gov by February 9th. We're right up against the clock. Senator Cox was against this bill. He's still against it. He's looking for our input, and so is Assemblyman Tom Berryhill. So I would really request that the county come up with a statement of some sort to try to put a stake through the heart of this stupidity. Thank you very much.
Mr. Martin, when we talked about this earlier, I suggested that you contact Brian Moss. Have you had a chance to talk to Brian?
I have not. I am available on a daily basis. I'm in the phone book. I've got to go back to work here shortly.
Okay, we have another minute and a half.
Huh?
You have another minute and a half.
Thank you very much, folks. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate your comments as well. Clock starting with Daryl.
All I want to say, very, very, I hope each of you have good holidays with your families. I hope you're safe and just joyous. And this coming year will be a good year for all of us, and you're going to be part of that. And I appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. recognizes former Supervisor Lucy Fine. Welcome, Lucy.
Thank you all, and Happy New Year. Congratulations to you, Gary. You're looking good up there, man.
Thank you, Lucy.
I'm Lucy Fine, and I'm president of Habitat for Humanity, Calaveras. And I'm here to invite all of you to come to the dedication of our new home that we've just finished in District 5 in Rancho Calaveras. And it'll be at 2 o'clock this Saturday, and there'll be some refreshments. And I'm anxious for you to see it because it's part of the low-cost housing that you guys always want and never can get, and we're providing that for you. But it's also the greenest house ever built. This lady that moves in won't even have a PG&E built probably. PG&E gave us a $15,000 grant for solar panels, and everything else is built well insulated, and it's actually a little dollhouse. I wouldn't mind living in it and stuff. So I hope you see, hope to see all of you there, and Russ, if you would grace us with a song, that would be wonderful.
I have a conflict. I've got to go to opening of the LA Opera on Saturday.
Oh.
I'm not singing it. My nephew is.
Thank you all.
Lucy,
Happy New Year. Yes.
you need to mention that it's at the Methodist Church in Valley
Well-
Springs where it was initiated, and it's going to the house after.
Yes, if you want to start at the Methodist Church, that starts at 1, and then we'll go to the house to see the house at 2. Thank you, Gary. And there was one other thing. Oh, yes. I'm here to support Catherine. I think she walks on water, and you're going to be talking about her mentoring program once again. I was part of it for a while, and it was very enjoyable. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy.
Good morning, my name is Roger Stevenson. I live in Arnold. I'm the president of the Calaveras Builders Association. I was before the board last summer suggesting that we adopt California Assembly Bill 811, which would allow us to be the first county in the state to go green. That Assembly Bill allows people to make energy improvements to their homes and have it amortized over 20 years on their property tax. That bill would create jobs for contractors and people in the home improvement industry. It would create revenues to the building department. It would increase permit fees and inspections for employees of the building department. It would allow us to save energy and help the environment. And so it also would increase revenue to the county tax assessors in that they would be able to get low-cost bonds and handle the collection over 20 years of those fees that are spent on home improvements and make a percentage of the revenue, increased percentage of the amount of the bond. So it would generate income for our county to the county tax assessor, to the building department, and people that need work in this county. And it seems like such a win-win proposition. The good news is we still have the opportunity to be the first county in the state to adopt this assembly bill that was passed in July. There are a few cities that have adopted it. Palm Desert is one of them, and there's 3 or 4 more in line to do that. But no county has taken that on as a county-wide project yet, and I think that we should consider doing that. It would be beneficial to everyone in this county, and I can't see a reason to not accept it or to promote it. And I also suggested that we do away with the community development agency. I don't think we need to spend money on an agency that we got by with fines for years without. It seems like there's been a lot of problems and controversies in this county ever since we adopted a community development agency. Our community development director is already receiving a nice retirement from another area. He's not from this area. And instead of doing away with that, we're laying off building inspectors right now that live in this county and that are working. It just does not make sense to me why we need more Indians, chiefs, and let go of the Indians. I just can't understand that, but I hope you'd reconsider my suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Anyone else wishing to address the board this morning?
Marty Crane. I'm hoping you'll take these seriously.
That's a stretch.
So I can make it rain. Happy New Year. I'm sure we're all very well aware of all the things that keep coming at us from every different direction on a daily basis. And some of them, most of them quite challenging. And so I was just hoping that, well, first of all, I run the volunteer center. I'm the director of the volunteer center. And we not only maintain a website where we support all other organizations in their quest to match up volunteers with volunteer opportunities. So, because the success or failure of every event and organization that you see in our daily lives around here is directly tied to the availability of volunteers. So we do that, but we also have for 17 years now been administering a volunteer transportation safety net program for our vulnerable populations, and it goes one step past that. If you look around, we are all visible. We're not invisible. The ones that are invisible are the ones that cannot get here. The ones that are invisible are the ones that cannot get to the doctor because they can't take the bus, because they can't bump along, you know, or they can't get up on the bus, or they can't wait for an hour or however long it is when they get there, or they can't walk the 2 blocks to get to the doctor once they get off the bus. Or then maybe they live more than a quarter of a mile off the route. So while our transportation projects or opportunities, industry that we have in Calaveras County is fabulous. It's a wonderful thing for a lot of people. It does not serve a certain segment of our population. And they can't speak to you today because they're not here. Why? Because they can't get here. So I would just like to hopefully start off the new year with remembering that we have an invisible population that relies on their friends, their neighbors, and everyone around to remember that once you get to be 80 years old, it should just be a given. We're going to help them. You know, it's just, that's as simple as it is. And I hope that once I get to be 80, I can call on any and everybody here and they'll come help me. Because I'll be smiling. So thank you very much and Happy New Year to everybody. And remember to visit.
Marty, thanks for all you do. That's really commendable.
And just one of the
My name is George Fry, and
by the way, George drives the volunteer.
that's what I was going to mention. I've been driving for the volunteer center for over 2 years, and I have a regular customer that I take every Wednesday for medical appointments and for groceries. She's 89 years young, and she's just an incredible lady. She grew up in the entertainment environment in Hollywood, and her husband was a world-renowned photographer. And every week I have a new story about some actor or actress that's been to her home. It's a wonderful thing to do. I hope that people will get out there and volunteer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to make a comment not about a subject not on the agenda? Chair recognizes Mr. Al Segala.
Mr. Chair, Happy New Year. Congratulations, Gary.
You go.
I'm representing the Calaveras County Taxpayer Association. And just some comments on some items that are already here. On the Miss Davis issue that we heard, it was kind of sad. in that the remarks were not timed properly, but more than that was the accusations that were made. And as a taxpayer, I have concerns about that. Perhaps the grand jury would be the best approach if the other processes are not working. On Mr. Martin's comments on AB 85, the septic well regulations, the Taxpayer Association really concurs with that. Not only do we have to, I think the board should be proactive with CSAC and other organizations to urge our state representatives to really do away with these laws that are oppressive and they just don't make sense. And as our Taxpayer Association, we do everything we can to help, but it would be good for the Board of Supervisors to take positions on these type of things. Roger Stevenson's comments on the Community Development Agency or Community Development Director, I think the idea of a Community Development Agency is not a good one. The line of control to the county administration, the county administrative officer, is plain to go to the department heads. You don't need to have another level of bureaucracy. And we certainly don't need to have government more complex than it is. And so we think that by building the general plan to be highly complex and intrusive, it's going to be very difficult to reverse mistakes that are being made now. And so we urge you to use as much wisdom as possible. How many seconds do I have left, Mr. Chair?
You have about 2.5 minutes.
That's good. I'd like to quote Thomas Jefferson, because it ties into the financial things that are going on. Even though supervisors are completely innocent of what the bankers are doing, we do have a connection into what's happening in our economy. And so to quote Thomas Jefferson, I believe that banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberties than standing armies. If the American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their currency, first by inflation, then by deflation, those banks and the corporations that will grow up around the banks will deprive the people of all property until their children wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered. That is time. That's written a long time ago, and the principles are very sound. Sometimes principles can be referred to as maybe intangibles, but these are thoughts that we should bear in mind. And I leave my remaining time to whoever I want to add to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, going once, going twice. I feel compelled to jump in here with one statement that got overlooked earlier. Supervisor Walensky, I really want to congratulate you on your chairmanship. Like somebody said here earlier, it's going to be a tough act to follow, but I really appreciate the even-handedness that you're conducting your meetings. Job well done. Thank you very much.
And I'm still ambulatory.
All right, let's jump right into the agenda item number 10. This is a discussion and possible board action regarding a resolution recognizing January 2009 as National Mentoring Month. Where have we heard that word? And January 22nd, 2009 as Thank Your Mentor Day, and this could require board action. Yes.
Is that like you?
That's your cue, yes.
I would like to ask everybody who came related to the mentoring program to please join me here now.
The chair recognizes this wonderful looking woman, Catherine Eustace. She's she's a force to be reckoned with here.
And some of us had to go, as you'll notice, John Brophy came to support this effort, and he's the superintendent of schools here, and had to go, but I was thrilled to see him. So this is our group. I'm going to give a little tiny presentation. I think we'll be well within 5 minutes, and then if I can, I'd like to introduce the people who are with us here today. The mission of the Calaveras Youth Mentoring Program is to connect Calaveras County young people in 1st through 12th grades with safe, positive adult role models who will offer support, guidance, and friendship, and help the youth make healthy life decisions. Many of you are really familiar with the program and have seen me up here over the last few years. And I asked very gently through one email if anybody would like to come with me, because I am not the Calaveras Youth Mentoring Program. These people are just a few of the people connected with our program now. And I'm really thrilled with the number of people who were able to come. From our start, our first match was made January 18, 2003. We have since made 61 adult to youth matches, and now that we have our Friday Night Live mentoring program, in which high schoolers mentor middle schoolers, there are at least 50 kids who have been matched in that program as well. Right now, we're supporting 20 adult to youth matches. That number's going to grow dramatically in the next couple of weeks because we took a matching break during the holidays. And we have 14 youth on our waiting list. We have matched youth in Calaveras County from kindergarten through 12th grade. We have matched youth in Calaveras County from every town in the county, from Wallace and Ferguson to Dorrington, from Copperopolis to West Point. Yay. It took us a long time to get to West Point. We're West Point. Our mentors range in age from 18 to 72. And the longest match that we have sustained in our program has been formally for 3 years, and they are with us today, so I want to ask them to speak. But the first match mentor in our program from December 18, 2003 is still in very close touch with her young woman, who I am extremely proud to say aspires to be a mentor for the Calaveras Youth Mentoring Program. She is just coming into adulthood. In our years that we've been creating the program, we have achieved all of the measurable objectives that the community created in our first 5-year vision, and have since created a new 3-year strategic plan, which we are undertaking now. We have won an award as an exemplary and replicable program from the California School Boards Association, and we are ever increasing our number of matches. We started with 10 pilot matches, of which I think 3 of our original mentors are here today. And now we have made 61 matches, but we always have between 20 and 30 matches going in the program at a time. I wanted now to introduce the people who are here. Marion Cogan, as you know, is one of the founders of the Calaveras Mentoring Program and the producer of the Calaveras Follies, which is a tremendously successful fundraiser for our program, and also, we're proud to say, a really big community builder for Calaveras County. It's much bigger than our program now, but we still like the money. Clark Gerke is one of our founding mentors, and is now a CASA mentor with the Amador County program, and that, I'm sure, has something to do with, he's planning to maybe bring it into Calaveras County in the next few years. Typically, Clark's a real idea guy for the program. As we go around, I know Sam, you don't want to. We just something. So, Sam and Don are our longest match, and they actually met through the Calaveras website. And Don came to the program because there was a story about Sam in the paper. And he called me up and he said, I want that kid. I'm not doing that. So he wants to stay.
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah, happier. That's how it is.
In front of the microphone and pen. It's been a fun couple of years, and I would like to encourage anybody that has any interest into contacting any of us, and we'll prod you. We'll do worse than that. We'll get you to join. Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
I feel like I've known Sam so long, it's hard to make him do anything.
How long have they been back?
They've been 3 years. Isn't it 3 years next month? 3 years next month.
Okay, we've got 2 to go. I want to see them through till age 18.
I have a question. Sam, do you have lots of friends?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
He's got me.
My relative is one of our advisory board members, as is Rudy Ortega, who went from mentor to advisory board and has 2 kids, in the program. And Wayne Fuller has also had 2 kids in the program, and Sharon is with her first one. Almost everybody here has a special relationship, either because of the length of time they've been with the program, or my gratitude for the length of time they waited. Sam waited longer than any other kid in the program for a mentor and still stuck with it. And Sharon and Clark both waited longer than any other mentor for a kid. So I also wanted to ask Colleen Dolan if she would say a few words. She was one of our founding mentors and joined the program when she was 18 years old. She is now volunteering with the program and actually secured our presence here today. She has rolled out our whole national mentoring campaign for us. I'd like to point that out. She's an extremely talented young woman. I'd like her to stay in the county.
Hi, thank you. I'm Marissa Northeast District 4, and I'd like to, so much has been said about the program that I'd like to just highlight one aspect of the program that I don't think has been touched on, and that is the effect that it has on mentors. I, as Catherine said, became a mentor when I was 18, and what's impressed me most about the program is that the lines it crosses between our young population, our young adult population, our older adult population, and our retiree population. It really is, as you can see, an amazing entire community program bringing together, bees and and also drawing on what Marty said, it really does address a lot of the invisible populations in our county, the children that are not given a lot of accolades in school and who are not as far down the ladder as those who get a lot of attention from the state. So we really do bring together a lot of caring hearts in our community, and thank you for recognizing our program. Very much appreciate it. Thank you.
So I wanted to take this opportunity to show you our brand new hot off the press mentoring program brochure that has all new, mostly action-oriented photos and was made possible by a grant from the Calaveras Community Foundation. And also, let you see our current mentee waiting list, because you all have opportunities to encounter really caring, committed citizens every day in their job, and I would be so grateful for your help making sure that we're on program and opportunities to volunteer in our program. We have 2 mentor orientations coming up this month, and I have a couple of flyers around about that, and I can leave those here. And I also wanted to let you know, as our final thing, unless somebody else would like to speak, I have a very, very happy announcement to make in conclusion. As many of you know, at the last Calaveras Follies, I announced that we have been invited by the Cal Foundation in San Francisco to apply for a matching or challenge grant of $10,000. And they did, in fact, give us that invitation. And the challenge was that if we raised $10,000 in new donations, that they would match that with a $10,000 grant. Yesterday afternoon at 4 o'clock, I was sitting with a mentor who was doing a graduation with her kid, and 2 huge checks came in that I had been very anxiously awaiting. And I said, wow, I can't believe it, I am now $250 from my $10,000 match. And she said, really? Is that all you need? And I said, yes. And she wrote me a check. Then we actually have had more money come in, so we now have $10,200 with which to claim our Cal Foundation match. And I thank you all so much for the community as individual supporters and donors for our program. So I wasn't going to read through the proclamation or whatever it's called. You guys need to do that, or Is that enough
Well, we just have.
conversation? Are you talked into it? Thank you all. I'm very aware of all of your participation in the community and your support for the program, and it's a really great opportunity for me to come back after having stood up here alone and Mary having stood up here alone to actually share some of our community with you. Thank you so much for your continuing support of this program.
Catherine, thank you very much for your efforts in behalf of these mentees. And I acknowledge what the young woman was saying about the benefit for the mentors as well. Board, do you have any comments on this?
Just this is, as stated, a great program, and I'd like to take the honor of making the motion for the resolution. It's just a spectacular what you're doing. Thank you, Catherine.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve this resolution recognizing January as the National Mentoring Month and particularly January 22nd as Thank You Mentor Day. All in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed. That succeeds on a 5-0 vote. Thank you very much for your efforts.
Thank you. I forgot to mention that Kim is a mentor, and Nick and Dennis as well.
You're over your time. Anyway, there's been a request at the board here to take a 5-minute necessity break, so we will return here at in 5 minutes from now.
Oh, wow. I assumed you were aware of it, but I'm glad I'm not aware of it. So now I will,
Your pencil holder?
What is that pink lace stuff?
Hey, Jeff. Steady by your Good to see you again. How have you been? Happy New Year. How have you
He's been basically on the slopes every day. Winter summer camp, so basically winter camp. So
running back and forth?
Basically, Happy New Year, Tom.
See you
Thank you.